All right. Welcome everybody to my YouTube channel. I am T800 Savage, and this will be my first ever review on a TV series. Why not try Daredevil Born Again? Just came out today, and I am very impressed, and I have fallen back into Marvel's good graces. I was kind of a little skeptic with its whole failed attempts with other TV shows. Their movies, they were not very interesting. Just not a good plot. I've been struggling to get back into it, but I just fell apart after Endgame. I don't know what their decision was with their company and how they're gonna run Marvel. It just hasn't been very good as of late. But this brought hope. This brought hope, and took in a few notes. This is my first review. I'll get used to this in time, but anyway, let's get down to it. Don't want to bore you guys any longer. Well, I have five things, and I call them paper for plot, acting, pacing, effects, and rating. So those are the five things I will be talking about. And I will have spoilers, but that'll be towards the end, which I will let everybody know. I will have like a 5 second time for everybody to leave. If you have seen it, welcome to watch it. If you haven't seen it, scurry on out of here. I don't want to spoil anything. It's worth watching. So let's get down to this review so I wouldn't waste any more of your time. So the pacing, I would say, is very good. It drew me in very quickly. I mean, the dark depths of it felt more like a movie than it is a TV show, to be fairly honest. And I just love the cinematography with it. They changed it a little bit more darker, and the pacing was very good. I mean, the first episode, the pacing, it they suck you right in, right back into it where they left off. Well, not really where they left off. It's been a couple years, you could tell. Um, Nelson and Murdock and Paige have been, I guess, getting popular. You can tell by the suits that they wear, new hairstyle. Even their home looks even better, especially Matt's, which is very impressive. I so you could say like all the suits that they have, they've gone up with their business. Um, the effects, the effects were very good, except I felt a little bit um off with the fighting scene. There are certain fighting scenes in this show that when he wears the suit, it reminded me of She-Hulk type of effects. You know what I mean? Like you could tell where the green screen is at, and it kind of just looks very jaggy. Very the frame rates. It's like if you were playing a game and you could tell like if it was a very fast paced game, it'll slow down. That's what it felt like to me. Like they had a different style of their fighting compared to the Netflix series, which in the Netflix series they're very close. The stunts were like very real, but this one you could tell they used a little bit of their CGI to it, which is it kind of bothered me to be honest. But I kind of learned to like brush it off, but it's still into the back of my head like they could have done better with the CGI. That's pretty like fair. Um, yeah. So the plot, pacing, effects. Now for the rating. Well, the acting. Oh yeah, of course. Sorry, apologies. The acting was very good. I love the acting. That they acted the same how they were. Nothing changed to them. It was very fresh. Like they stuck to their character how they left it off for us back then in Netflix. There was nothing new changes. Like there was, they still have like the same struggles. Matt struggles. He shows his emotions. For a blind man, it's very noticeable, like how his body movement, or he grits his teeth right behind, with his closed mouth, or he grabs something very tight. I love those little details that they brought that he brings to Matt Murdock. Trying not to step over that line, or as he usually does. Um, Wilson Fisk, he still acts the same, uptight, but he did kind of soften out. But I don't believe it at first, because he'll be soft at first. Then later on, you'll see the real Wilson, the Kingpin for what he is, with that anger and strength and brutality. So I'm just waiting for those moments. And let's get down to the rating. So I give episode one a 9 out of 10. It was very good. It brought me in, sucked me right into the show. I was into it. The fighting was good, just the effects, so that's why I gave it a 9. For the CGI. I wasn't comfortable with it. It still bothered me a little bit. That's why I lost the point. Other than that, everything was done very well. But episode two, it felt like a slow first half. I mean, it was, yeah, you get the story of like what's gonna happen, what's about to be going on, but compared to episode one, it was a bad, like a tad bit slower. But other than that, I give it a 7 out of 10, to be honest, or seven. You know what? Scratch that. I'll give it a 8 out of 10, to be fair. I mean, the slow pace. I would probably get, if I watch it again, I'll probably understand more now. So yeah, I think 8 out of 10 is fair. It is fair. So yeah, episode one 9, episode two an 8. So that'll be it for my review. Spoiler free. Here comes the spoilers. As I promised, I'm gonna give you a 5-second countdown. So for those who haven't watched it, she'll be gone, and come back and watch the spoiler review. Now. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spoiler. This one hurt. Personally, this one hurt me because I was not expecting this situation. Foggy dies. Within 6 minutes of the first episode, Foggy dies. Oh, that broke my heart. Especially with Karen Page's, the actress, Deborah Ann Wool. If I mispronounced her name, apologies. But she gave a very good performance of like a dying friend who was right in front of you. Not knowing what to do, trying to like be there for them. She's done a good performance. And I was expecting more of Nelson and Murdock in this show, but apparently they had a different idea. But the idea of it comes together when you realize what's going to happen, like what crossing that line where Matt tries not to do, for the past couple of seasons, not try to kill, but the one that kills him is Bullseye. I was not expecting Bullseye to come out in the first episode. I was expecting him like episode maybe 2, right at the end, 3 or 4. They're kind of like slowly getting us back in, but no, they did not. They were just like throw him in there, throw this in there, throw this death. Give the audience what they want, and they did. That's what brought me in. I was literally open mouth shocked about his death. Bullseye did it. I love this guy being Bullseye. He has the look of, I want to murder you, but I'm gonna stay quiet about it. He's more walk the walk than talk the talk, because I love the whole paperclip scenes. It brought me back to the movie with Ben Affleck. He used paper clips to kill his enemies, and he used it to kill like a fly or unlock a door. It was a nice little detail from there. Uh, and the that was the main thing, that the fight between Daredevil and Bullseye was the effects were kind of like a little flaky. That's where I had the problem. I think it's just new to me because I'm not used to seeing them fight like that. It's always close combat, stunt coordination. It's but I still liked it. it was just the effects and the CGI of it. It's just it was not very good. It was just I don't know. When they throw hands, you feel it. You feel it in the Netflix series. Here it's just you're watching them like, for example, like Thor and Hulk going at it, but you just think of it as them going a little slower. That's what I felt about it. Matt throws Bullseye right off the roof, and he finds out like he hears Foggy's heartbeat, slowing down and eventually stops, which triggers, his other side, throwing him off and I guess trying to kill him, but he really doesn't die. He lives like barely at the edge of death. Um, and I guess a year later after that event, Matt is done. He hangs up the cape of Daredevil. Everybody's wondering where Daredevil is at, and Karen Page. I guess she moved to San Francisco, which kind of like cuts ties between Matt and Karen because in the beginning they were getting, that familiar love relationship. They're just friends at first, but after this, it was. I guess they lost communication. They lost touch, and Matt think he went into isolation after Foggy's death, which I completely get because he was always worried about his life, you know, being Daredevil and seeing his friends getting hurt, and this was kind of like his final straw with Foggy. Um, Now it's what's her name, the lawyer. She was talking to Foggy, and now her and Matt have a business together, and Matt's doing very good for himself as a defense attorney with his own practice. So he's living now a little much more luxurious than he was in Netflix. It was just dirty, simple apartment. Now he has a TV, new counter, new kitchen, new sofas, and he's new all his closets, pure suits. It's like it's a new life. What he wanted, the lawyer life, and not always be in the cape. The suit. Sorry, I always keep calling it cape. Superman or Batman, they always call it the cape. Wilson Fisk is free, running for mayor. Eventually, he does win. It isn't a surprise for us Marvel fans. We already see this coming for him to be mayor. Vanessa, to my surprise, is running the business, and they're financially. She helps the five families. Like the five families trust her instead of fear what Wilson Fisk had originally done. In the beginning. Um, and then that lawyer, I guess, hooked up the therapist Heather and Matt. Because they're saying like Matt needs a therapist. He needs to talk about the death of his best friend. But eventually, that becomes like a romance between the two. She didn't like lawyers, and eventually she saw his charm, and now they're getting very close. Which eventually, um, that comes into complications where Matt's gonna fear like that same situation where people get hurt, whoever comes into his life as Daredevil. And at the end of that episode, Matt and Fisk come face to face. Fisk knowing who he is under the mask, which brings tension between the two. You feel the tension between the two, and yeah, he just warned him like I think Wilson Fisk will be the reason. It's always been his number one reason to put on the mask once again. He doesn't like Fisk at all. He sees right through him, and he knows he will tear this city apart. And I think with this new law that Fisk is going through, I think it's going to go through all over Marvel, which I've heard like Spider-Man 4, the upcoming Spider-Man, is going to be a problem for Peter Parker because, he's going to set out a new law of vigilantes, not being allowed anymore. That's going to be a big problem with Spider-Man and the rest of the superheroes that live in New York City. Um, so yeah, that was episode 1. Now episode 2, this was a slow paced, in my opinion. I mean, this is just my personal opinion. I mean, if you like it, you like it. If you give it a higher rating than me, then that's on you. That's your choice. It's not. This is just personally me. I like fast paced. I like it to keep going that way, but I get it. Like there's some episodes that have to be a little bit slow and then picks it right back up on the next one. So this random guy, Hector Ayala, he tries to break up a fight in the subway, trying to save one guy, and come to think of it, the two guys that were beating this one random up was undercover cops or corrupt cops. You know, one of the cops tried to kick him, but he moved out of the way, and I guess he fell into the tracks of the subway and gets ran over and dies. And which now the second cop is like, "Oh, I'm a cop," like you're gonna get arrested, and being labeled as a cop killer, which is a bad thing. Come to think of it, this is like Hector Ayala. I knew I had remembered that name in the Marvel comics, but I just didn't remember what it was. But eventually, he was covered to be the White Tiger. Now, if you're not familiar with the White Tiger in the comics, he is a superhero. He does have superhuman strength, speed, and kind of similar to the Black Panther, but he has an amulet that gives him this power. And I think his sister and niece, sister or daughter, later on becomes the White Tiger, which we see like in the Marvel Snap game. You know, they're one of the same family. I guess it's like a traditional family thing that they pass on the White Tiger to the next of kin. If I'm not mistaken. If I am mistaken, please correct me. You can leave a comment down below. Um, so Matt eventually takes the case after hearing Hector being beat up. So, and this is a big problem with Matt because he knows Wilson is now mayor. So that's going to be a problem with Wilson. He's going to be setting eyes on that case just to get at Matt Murdock. Knowing Wilson Fisk, I'm sure he's going to get on his tail after that. Fisk and Vanessa go into therapy, and of course, it had to be the one, Matt's current girlfriend. I believe we could call him girlfriend by now. Heather is now their therapist, and Matt is following one of these cops that was there, and follows them back home. And I guess they're gonna go, undercover to go kill the original person that they were beating up in the subway. So Matt gets there, tells the guy named Jerry that works for him, that's a police officer, to go rescue him in the park. While Matt deals with these two officers, like talk to them as the lawyer, but eventually these cops, they do not care, which is no surprise with corrupt cops. They try to kill him, which sets off Matt for being, a year apart from the suit, being Daredevil. Bring that out of him on that moment where the cops try to kill him. Oh man, that fight scene that was a little bit better because it was just him. It's a suit. He didn't need the suit. It didn't look a little CGI to it. It looked a lot more like a stunt, which gave that episode a little higher rating than I usually had it for. The original rating that I had it for, it was like a 7 or 7.5, but I brought it up to an 8 after that. So yeah, that was episodes 1 and 2. I can't wait for episode 3 next week. I believe is on Wednesday. So thank you for watching my YouTube video of this review. I do love it. I can't wait for more. I hope Marvel sets things right and goes with this flow. If they keep going with this, they'll get the money and they'll have the fans' favor. But if they keep going how they used to be going for the past couple years after Endgame, then hopefully we could just enjoy this for the time being until things pick up once again. But anyway, if you like my video, hit a like, hit the notification bell, subscribe, and leave a comment. Tell me how do you think of the show. So have a nice day, and I'll be back.